All right, so we're continuing on with Sri Sarada Devi and her divine play uh, as an incarnation coming to be a part of. Well, I guess they came to be together and to create this movement of oneness. Sri Sarada Devi and Sri Ramakrishna, and of course Vivekananda also. And so, in this class, we're just kind of going and looking at the notion of God as mother, the divine feminine, and we see Sri Sharda, that Thakur sees no difference between the two of them, actually between the three of them. It's a very interesting incarnation this time in my own, kind of share my own view of it, the way I've kind of put it all together. I see them as a single incarnation in three people, that God, when he presents, she presents, they present, that, there's, because it's amazing how different each of them are in personality and character, and the difference in the way that they approach their relationship with the divine is quite wonderful to me, because I have found such a marvelous way of working within that circle of three through my sadhana. There were times when I felt very close to Sri Ramakrishna, that male energy, that intense renunciation, and that hold the bar, and God as father kind of energy. And but I was brought into spiritual life through the divine mother, purely because of the divine feminine, with her great sense of compassion and patience, and commitment, and to me as a child of hers. Because I was pretty religious weary back in the not before the late 90s. I was very anti-religion, actually, was not happy with it at all, and with no interest. But then stumbled on the Divine Mother. And if it wasn't for the Divine Mother, I would not have been able to become interested, mostly because I just didn't think there was any place for me in religion. And to see that kind of motherliness manifested in her and in the nuns of Sri Shardamat, which was my real first connection with a teacher, with a guru. So the divine feminine plays a very important role in my life and my relationship with the beloved. And then there's Vivekananda. Boy, what a whirlwind of integrity and deep, deep knowledge, and just a fearlessness in his approach. I always like to go along and read the last couple of paragraphs in any of his lectures, because they're always so over the top. He just gets in there and just really fills the sails of inspiration with what he has to say. And so the three of them are a perfect consortium of truth. They each are manifesting a very important facet of divinity. And so I've really come to understand them as a singularity in three, singularity in three. And so that they're working together. And of course, Vivekananda's big statement, that the West, one of the gifts that he feels like India has to give to the West, is the idea of God as mother. He says the West has suffered under the tyranny of God as father long enough, and that we should find some feminine energy in our approach to God and our approach to religion. And so that in this class, that's what we're hoping manifests. At this point, we're in this book on Sri Sarada Devi, but we will be going through and have gone through several different books of women saints of different traditions, and looking more intently at the idea of God as mother. So we're on chapter 13, Holy Mother and Vivekananda. Oh, this will be beautiful. That's one of the things about Vivekananda. He's got that big manliness, always such a big, huge character. But anytime he's around the Divine Mother, he just melts into a boy and shows such beautiful reverence and such beautiful respect toward her, and would not make any major decision in his life without Holy Mother's permission and input. So he really had a great reverence for her. So it starts off with the introduction statement or a quote. by Vivekananda. She who is always guiding and inspiring my intellect in this world. She is my all auspicious mother. She is my goal, whether I succeed or fail. A beautiful Vivekananda quote, very much like him there. She who is always guiding and inspiring my intellect in the world. She is my all auspicious mother. She is my goal, whether I succeed or fail. And I love that ending there, this attitude, that this is not a race. We're not in for an attainment. We're not trying to get an achievement award. We're not trying to get a badge of success. We're not even trying for success. We're trying for a stern renunciation and a freedom of the soul and freedom from mind in that. So whether we succeed or fail is not the point. It's our love for the process, our love for God in the process that we follow through and find our inspiration. And it's very important. I really love and honor Brother Lawrence's whole approach to the divine, where his whole philosophy really can be stated in that one sentence that he says that, if I realized in the moment that I was doing something that I shouldn't be doing, I stopped without question. If I wasn't doing something that I should be doing, I immediately started doing it. And he says, I didn't berate myself much. I didn't give myself much trouble about having forgotten. I just simply put my mind back in the right place and kept going forward. And that's the best way in spiritual life. Don't let stories form around your opinions of your spiritual progress. I had a great friend of mine early on in my spiritual life scold me because I was telling him that I wasn't sure I was going to meditate very much because I was so bad at it, and I just didn't feel like my meditations were any good. And I thought I just shouldn't spend my time on that. I should probably spend my time on reading or something. And he told me a beautiful thing. He said, how dare you judge your meditation? He said, who do you think you are? He says, you have no idea what the Divine Mother is up to in your meditation. You may have called today's meditation a waste of time, and you may have thought it was a terrible meditation, but the Divine Mother may have clicked a switch deep down inside of you that you're not even aware of, that's not going to bear fruit for another 10 years. And it happened today. So you can't judge and should not judge your own meditations. He says only a realized soul can judge somebody's meditation. He says yours isn't to meditate right or wrong. Yours is to meditate. Yours is to do the work. And you just go forward, and Mother will take care of how good or bad it is. Put your faith in the divine. And I was very glad for that instruction so early on in my spiritual life because it saved me a lot of headaches. I probably all of us tend to some degree, kick ourselves around the block for not being what we want to be or what we hope to be. And it's wonderful in the company and the presence of the divine. We can do away with that. It's not a linear, accomplishment-oriented relationship. It's just not that. It's really about being with the beloved, being in the presence of love at every moment, and to allow ourselves to organically respond to an infinite love and infinite grace. That's what makes us grow, not our effort. We're not huffing and puffing with an axe of divine literature to climb some mountain to reach God. This is a wrong view of things and a very unhelpful view of things. Ours is in the moment here, and in the moment there's nothing to accomplish. We are already what we have always been. We are that divine self, that Satchitananda. And so we don't have to build or achieve anything. We simply have to see the reality that is already there. And so it's wonderful how he phrases that. Whether I succeed or fail does not matter, that she is my all auspicious divine mother. Ramakrishna may have cast off his body, but his spirit began to flow in the veins of humanity. Swami Vivekananda, affectionately called Swamiji, carried the master's ideal of a universal religion to both the West and the East. On February 20th, 1897, 3.5 years after his highly acclaimed achievement at the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, Vivekananda returned to Calcutta. He was totally exhausted from his constant lecturing and meeting people. So on the 8th of March, following his doctor's advice, he left for Darjeeling to rest and recover his health. He returned to Calcutta on the 21st of March to meet Raja Ajit Singh of Khetri, and again left for Darjeeling on the 23rd of March. Swamiji finally returned to Calcutta on the 28th of April, 1897. The next day, he visited Holy Mother at 10/2 Bospara Lane and Bug Bazaar. Kumud Bandhu Sen left an eyewitness account of this meeting. It was a memorable and historic occasion. All those who had the rare privilege to see this meeting between Holy Mother and the illustrious Swami Vivekananda for the first time after the latter's return from the West with laurels of glory and fame felt an exuberance of joy. Holy Mother stood silently at the door of her own room, wearing her usual veil-like covering. Swamiji prostrated himself before her. It was indeed a heavenly sight to see this world-famous Swami Vivekananda prostrating himself with deep reverence and humility before the Holy Mother like a devoted son. Holy Mother, deeply moved at the sight of Swamiji, after an interval of nearly 7 years, stood speechless, as if in a trance. Gosh, immediately I'm thinking that's how she's going to look at you when you show up at her door. She's just going to be so stunned. She's been following your life, your progress, and your growth, seeing you as her child, and now you get to stand before her, and she's just going to be floored. As if in a trance, the whole atmosphere was surcharged with an indescribable sublimity and divine bliss. When he made pranams to Mother, Swamiji did not touch her feet, as is often customary. And when he stood up after prostrating to her, he turned to all of us who were standing behind and said in a soft voice, Go and prostrate before the Mother, but don't touch her feet. She is so gracious, she is so tender and affectionate, that when one touches her feet, she then readily draws unto and takes upon herself all the misery and suffering of the hapless soul. Out of her infinite grace and unbounded love and compassion for one and all, thereby she has to suffer herself silently for others' sake. Go slowly, one by one, prostrate before her, pray to her, and ask for her blessings from the bottom of your heart, with all sincerity, but without verbal expression. She is ever in a superconscious state and understands everybody's mind. Wow. He just gave you a wonderful blueprint for framing your meditations, your prayer with the Divine Mother. We go not seeking anything, not trying to touch her feet, not wanting her to take away anything or all that, just in a deep, silent reverence. Present yourself because she is fully aware of all the content of your mind. Anything that you would pray, complain, say, ask, beg, or believe, she's well aware. And so in our practice with the Divine Mother, our meditation is just sitting and opening, letting her see everything, show everything to her. She'll know the questions that it infers. She'll know the pleas for help that it contains. She knows what to do. And so this is how we reach for our surrender, right? To pray with no prayer, to pray just with openness, with attentiveness, with love, and with presence, and to sit sweetly in silence, absorbed in that divine love, in that divine truth, which is the Divine Mother. As directed by Swamiji, All of us, one by one, silently prostrated ourselves before the mother. Swamiji quietly stood in a corner of the veranda. When we all had finished offering pranams to mother, Golap Ma broke the silence and addressed Swamiji on behalf of the mother, saying in a most affectionate tone, "Mother is eager to know how you have been keeping at Darjeeling. Is there much improvement?" Swamiji, "Yes, I've been much better there. Mahendra Banerjee and his accomplished wife very kindly looked after my comfort. I hope within a short time I shall be all right." Golap Ma, "Mother says that the master is always with you. You have still many more things to do for the good of this world." Swamiji, "I see directly, I feel, and I realize that I am a mere instrument of the master. Sometimes I am myself surprised how much wonderfully great things are taking place, and how in the West men and women are ready to devote their lives to this noble cause and to help me voluntarily in spreading the message of the master. I went to America with the blessings of the mother, and when I succeeded in moving the people there through my speeches and received tremendous ovations from them, I remembered at once the power of the mother's blessing, which had worked such a miracle. When I rested in silence, I could clearly perceive that the same divine power, whom the master called the Divine Mother, was guiding me there. So you see Vivekananda's relationship with this wonderful presence of Ma, which he recognized to be always present in him, and that it was because of that blessing, because of that power, and he was able to do anything. He was able to give us what we've got. Golap Ma conveyed the mother's reply. The master is not separate or different from the Divine Mother. The master is doing all these great things through you. You are his chosen disciple and his son. He loved you intensely and predicted before all that you were one day destined to be a distinguished world teacher. With great emotion, Swamiji said, "Mother, I want the master's message and I want to spread the master's message and to establish a worthy and enduring organization for that purpose as soon as possible. But I feel distressed that I cannot do things as speedily as I wished." Holy Mother herself spoke in a small, soft voice with maternal affection. "Don't worry about that. What you have done and what you will do will endure forever. You are born for this world, for this mission. Thousands will look upon you as the enlightened teacher of the world. Rest assured that the master will very soon fulfill your desire. You will before long find that your ideas are taking a practical shape." With prayerful reverence, Swamiji said to the mother, "Bless me, Mother, that I may see my plan of work materialize as quickly as possible." With these words, Swamiji took leave of Holy Mother and reverently prostrated before her again. There's a lot of power and energy just even in reading about how they saw each other, how their words were few but just full of meaning and pregnant with love, and authority in the way they spoke with each other. Mother fully aware of all that is happening and going on, reassuring Vivekananda, of all people, reassuring him that the master is working through him. And Vivekananda, the great lion of Vedanta, finding his encouragement, finding his strength in Mother, in the things that she's saying. Vivekananda was reassured and deeply moved by Holy Mother's blessings. In the course of this meeting, he said to her, "Mother, I did not clear the ocean this time in one jump," referring to Hanuman. "I went to America in a boat built by Westerners. I discovered there the great glories of our master. Many good people listened to me, spellbound about Sri Ramakrishna, and accepted his ideas. At Pashupati Basu's house on the 20th of February, 1897, Swamiji said to M, Master Mahashai, whatever success you see in my life is the play of the master. I am only an instrument. He sent me there. When the master indicated that I should go to the West, I informed the mother and asked for her permission and command. By the blessings of the mother, I easily overcame all difficulties there and became the most prominent figure amongst many famous learned pundits and scientists. Vivekananda's view of the Holy Mother. One can know God only by his grace, and not by means of austerity or by japa and meditation. All right, there it is in writing. Our consistent message. This is a very, very important, it's actually a foundational truth for having success in spiritual life. One can know God only by his grace, not by means of austerity, not by means of japa, not by means of meditation. It is by the grace and love of God alone that we have this wonderful opportunity to know these things, to learn about these things. You know, I remember when I first began reading the truths of Vedanta way back in the 90s. Oh my God, they were so refreshing to me. So meaningful. I kept telling my friend Philip, who was there for it most of the time, I kept telling him, I was like, everything that I read, every book that I look at with this ideal, I feel like somebody went through and harvested all of the aha moments in my life. All of those moments where I was like, something came together, that they collected all of those moments, put them in essay format, outlined them, gave them order and depth, and then handed them back to me. You know, all these things that you read in these scriptures, they're the truth. And what's wonderful is that you feel that. You can see that. Something very deep inside of us feels that truth when we hear it. Something deep opens when we're confronted with that truth. And so in our practice, this is the ideal. Our practice is not about accomplishment, not about achievement. It's about communion, that we meditate not to still the mind, not to train the heart, not to do anything of our own accord, because that's not in our power. Ours is to work. Mother does the results. Mother does the changing, the inspiring inside. And so we sit there in full attention, in full silence, in a surrendering of openness. The surrendering is letting go of all of our walls, letting go of our boundaries, letting go of our requirements, letting go of our story, letting go of our ego, letting go of our ideas of what has to be done and what should be done, and just simply being in stillness and quietness at the feet of the Divine Mother. That's practice. That's what meditation is. And there should always be a great joy in that, because it is only because of grace that we are here, that we have this opportunity. So one can know God only by his grace, and not by means of austerity or by japa and meditation. Grace dawns upon those who are endowed with purity and renunciation, humility and unselfishness, devotion and passionate yearning. Swami Vivekananda recognized in Holy Mother's divinity long before he left for the West. From America, he wrote to his brother disciples about the Mother. Have you not yet realized how precious Mother is? People will not understand her now, but they will gradually. Brother, there will be no salvation of the world without the help of the divine power. Why is it that our country is the weakest and most backward of all countries? Because Shakti is held in dishonor here. Without the grace of Shakti, nothing will be accomplished. What do I find in America and Europe? The worship of Shakti, the worship of power. Yet they worship her ignorantly through sense gratification. Imagine then what a lot of good they will achieve when they worship her with purity, looking upon her as their mother. I am coming to understand things every day. My insight is opening out more and more. Let Ramakrishna disappear. That does not frighten me, but it will be a calamity if people forget the mother. Don't be angry with me. None of you has understood mother. Her grace upon me is 100,000 times greater than that of the master. About mother, I am a little fanatic. I can do anything if she gives the order. I shall give a sigh of relief when you purchase a piece of land and install this living Durga there. Brother, when I think of mother, I say to myself, who is this Ramakrishna? I say this because of my fanaticism. Whether Ramakrishna was God or man, you may say whatever you like. But brother, shame upon him who is not devoted to the mother. Wow. That's some pretty powerful statements being made there. The mother, the divine mother, he also says that nobody gets their enlightenment without the direct permission of the divine mother. This is her domain. She is representative of the power of God. And this whole world lives in the realm of the power of God, the manifestation, right? And so none of us leaves, none of us transcends without mother's permission. So you see this great power. It's not just a meek and mild sweetness. There's the power of the universe behind the mother. And that love has an extraordinary capability of lifting you up, of changing the things in your character that you simply have not been able to do in your life. Purely by manifesting her own nature, what she is, not about what she does, not about what she says. It's about what she is. Pure love, manifesting generously, continuously, without condition, without circumstance, just a steady flow of well-wishing for you, enjoyment of you as her child. We probably don't think about that much in our meditation. We're always so focused on ourselves. But think of the joy that the beloved has, because he sees you as you are, sees that divine spark in you and every effort that you've made. So meditation isn't just about how you feel. Meditation is the love of the divine as well. After receiving Holy Mother's blessing, Swamiji inaugurated the Ramakrishna mission on the 1st of May, 1897, at Balaram's house in Calcutta. Kumudbandhu Sen described the mission's regular meetings. The weekly meetings of the Ramakrishna mission were usually held on Sunday evenings at Balaram Mandir in Bagbazar. At several of these meetings, Holy Mother was present, accompanied by some of her women companions and devotees. Swamiji would often preside over those meetings and would sing many songs, especially when Mother was present. Excuse me. On the 6th of May, 1897, Swamiji left for Almora to recuperate his health, along with Swamis Yogananda, Adbhutananda, and Niranjanananda. Others joined him there later. One day in Almora, Swamiji talked with his brother disciples about the future women's mutt, where he wanted to center on Holy Mother. In July, Yogananda returned to Calcutta. One day he met Girish at Balaram Mandir and talked to him about Swamiji's plan. This conversation was recorded by Kumudbandhu Sen. Swami Yogananda said, Swamiji wants to establish a monastery for women sannyasins under the direct guidance of the Holy Mother. This was revolutionary, a monastery for women. All the women disciples of the Master would be able to live together in the proposed mutt for women, and other women, including those from the West who desire to lead a life of renunciation and meditation, may come and live there and derive immense benefit by coming into intimate contact with the living ideals and hallowed associations of the women disciples. The mother's glowing personal example of purity and character, her spiritual talks and teachings based on her own realizations, and her ennobling love and care will inspire and elevate the inmates of the proposed mont, at the same time instilling into them a new force that will awaken their dormant energy. They will be transformed entirely and endowed with a new vision and realization of their own Shakti potential, so that they too can work fearlessly for the highest good of humanity. All right, there it is. You're wondering why we were called here tonight? You're wondering why Mother has ordained this meeting for us and to read this? Here it is. She has called upon you to be transformed entirely, to be endowed with a new vision and a new realization of your own potential, so that you too can work fearlessly for the highest good of humanity. What a privilege. What an amazing, amazing goal for life, right? What a beautiful inspiration. Wow. Whatever you thought you were worth, you were wrong. Mother has immense things in store for your practice, in store for your life and your vision. Swamiji told me with great emotion, our mother is a vast reservoir of spiritual energy. Though outwardly calm like a deep ocean, her advent marks the beginning of a new era in the history of India. The ideals that she lives and teaches will not only spiritualize the efforts for the emancipation of women in India, but will also penetrate into the influence the minds and hearts of women all the world over. Mother represents the highest expression of womanhood, especially in India. Motherhood is an innate instinct in every woman, the signs of which might be discovered even in a little girl. In the West, the whole structure of society rests on the wifehood of women, but motherhood is the true expression of divine love, sublime, noble, and broad as the sky. You know, it's just that innate. I got in trouble one time for saying this to a group of women, but I still feel like it though. You know, that women just have a real advantage in that patience, in that endurance, that kindness, that calmness. You know, that there's just, especially toward their children, you know, that there's a relationship there that I, as a male, as a man, have often done a lot of wondering about, you know, because you see that a woman has had that child as a part of her body, you know, for 9 months, carried it and suffered a lot. I mean, many women anyway, suffer quite a bit through pregnancy. And then certainly the childbirth and bringing that child into the world, that connection to that being, I can't fathom. You know, I can't, there's no way that I just don't have the tools to understand that. And I stand in awe of it, you know, from the sidelines. But that's why I started this class tonight by saying that it's the Divine Mother's love. It was the only way that I could have been convinced to step into spiritual life. You know, that deep dedication of a mother's love toward her child, that deep commitment toward your well-being, your transcendence. You know, it really is a beautiful, beautiful ideal. It's not the only one. I'm not saying that has to be the way for every woman. So I'm not limiting a woman's role or anything by saying that. I'm just expressing an appreciation for an aspect of it, a possibility of it. In reply, Girish Ghosh said, "It is an altogether new and bold idea of reforming our society and improving the lot of our women. Swamiji's will must be fulfilled, and I have not the least hesitation in fully supporting this proposal. But his failing health is making all of us anxious, and the doctors have strongly advised him to take complete rest. Swami Yogananda said, physically ill health or any other impediment from any source is not going to daunt or dissuade him from his determination to carry out his plans, which he firmly believes will benefit society and contribute to the well-being of mankind. He only smiles at our anxiety for and worry over the condition of his health. Well, look at the way they talk about what they're involved in. They were world-moving people. They were talking of uplifting not just Calcutta, not just the people in Dakshineshwar, not just the local Vedanta society. They had this firm understanding and conviction that they were lifting mankind, that they were presenting a new ideal that would change the world. They were thinking even bigger than their country. It's just amazing, because all of them were just village people. There's nothing in their life that portends to this greatness that they all achieved through their spirituality, just through their love, through the love that Ramakrishna showed to them, that Holy Mother showed to them. That it's out of that love that this movement happened. I'm often bewildered when I think of Ramakrishna, because if you looked at his life, he was nobody. He didn't write anything. He didn't publish anything. He never advertised a talk. He never went on tour. He had no interest in promoting himself in any way. He just lived his life as a temple priest, only talking to the people that came to him, only sharing these ideas with the people who stopped into the temple. And you would think, how many thousands of people are doing that now, who will die and never be spoken of again? How is it that Ramakrishna lived such a simple existence? And here it is 100 years later, and I, born and raised on the other side of the planet, have had a life transformed, are talking with my friends here who are touched by this incredible being, all out of what? Just an ordinary man surrendered to love, surrendered to compassion, surrendered to truth, renouncing anything that wasn't real, that he determined was unreal, just walking away from it. And all of that so that he can just smile at our anxiety, all of our troubles. Oh, Maharaj, I'm having such a problem with this way or that way. Oh, I can't get this done. And Thakur just smiles at our anxiety. Why? Because he knows the outcome. He's seen your realization already. He knows your ecstasy already, even though you haven't experienced it. When he looks at you, he sees it in you, that which you have not yet realized within yourself. He sees it clearly. And, just by looking at it, he will make you aware of it. And this is what happens in our meditation. In that silent stillness, Mother will raise up from within our own self an understanding of what we are. And in that understanding, we become a part of this love of God, this movement, this inspiration. After listening to all that he told me of his plan for starting a women's mott, I said to him, do whatever you think will be conducive for the good of society at large, but please do not bring the Mother into public prominence now. Don't you remember the Master telling us that his body would not survive if we preached him before the public? The same may be said in respect to the Mother too. I do not allow all and sundry to meet the Mother or to touch her feet while offering their salutations. I see that only sincere devotees of pure character have her darshan. Therefore, I humbly request you, brother, do not disturb the Mother at present. You may start the women's mott with the help and cooperation of women devotees of spotless character and spiritual realization, who also possess learning and skill in various branches of knowledge and work, and who are capable of taking charge of this organization without any direct association with men as such, not to speak of our sadhus. As soon as I finished saying this, Swamiji heartily thanked me and smilingly said, Mantri, you have given me a sound piece of advice and aptly reminded me of the Master's words in this respect. I shall not disturb the mother. Let her fulfill her mission according to her own will and in the manner that she chooses. Who are we to dictate to her? Rather, we can accomplish everything with her blessing. I have personally seen and felt the power of her blessings, which can do miracles. Girish replied, Yogan Swami, you have done yeoman's service indeed. Now I see why you accompanied Swamiji to Almora. Amazing. There's such, can you just feel their, I don't know what you would even call it, just their anticipation maybe of something great. Like they knew, they knew fully they were part of something much bigger than what they ever imagined, that they were part of a movement of the beloved. You know, you see it in the disciples of Jesus, you see it in the disciples of Buddha. You know, when God chooses to manifest and come into the world, he can live the simplest life that he or she wants, you know, as we see in Thakur and Ma. And yet somehow from that simplicity, a world movement is born, a changing of the ideas of humanity, you know, not necessarily the establishment of institutions and, you know, whatnot like that, but just in a ripple of humanity, a ripple of familiarity, a ripple of recognition, as all of us feel the presence of the nature of our own self manifest in the world perfectly. And the world is changed because of that. That is the ideal of the incarnation. To walk in and to those who know their insides, those who have gone inward, feel that presence, feel that energy, feel that potential given, and are changed by that. Just amazing. The Ramakrishna Math had been inaugurated in 1886 at Baranagar. In 1892, it was moved to Alambazar. But when Swamiji returned from the West, he was desperately trying to build a permanent monastery on the bank of the Ganges. Finally, on the 3rd of February, 1898, he succeeded in acquiring the present site of Belur Math, the permanent headquarters of the Ramakrishna Mission. The Math was then moved temporarily on the 13th of February, 1898, to Nilambar Babu's garden house in Belur, as it was very close to the property that had just been purchased. Holy Mother had previously stayed at this garden house. When the site was purchased, Holy Mother remarked, I always see the Master living in a cottage on the bank of the Ganges, where the Math now stands, surrounded by a banana grove. When the new land was purchased, Naren took me there one day. He showed me around and said, Mother, now you can move freely in your own place. It is said that the site of Belur Math had earlier been the timber yard of Captain Vishwanath Upadhyay of Nepal, and that Ramakrishna had once visited him there. In April of 1898, construction began on the monastery building. At the end of April, Holy Mother came from Calcutta by boat to visit the site with Golap Ma, with Swami Yogananda and Brahmachari Krishna Lal. As soon as she landed at the ghat of Nilambar Babu's house, the monks received her, blowing conchas, you know, those big seashells that they always announce a puja that way, or the presence of a highly respected person. They washed her feet, they fanned her and took her to the shrine. Holy Mother worshipped the Master that day and had prasad there. In the afternoon, at Swami Brahmananda's request, Holy Mother and her party went to the construction site. Sister Nivedita, Sarah Bull, and Josephine MacLeod were then staying in an old house on the property. God, when I read these groups of people that were together, all of these books that have been written about the work that they've done and the transformations that they went through and the wisdom that they learned and shared. God, I just imagine I mean, can you imagine just being in the room there with Sarah Bowl, Josephine McLeod, and Sister Nivedita? Good Lord. what a powerhouse of people. They had previously met Holy Mother in Calcutta and now cordially received her and showed her around. Holy Mother was happy to see how the work was proceeding. She remarked, "At long last, the boys have a place to lay their heads. The Master finally has cast his grace on them." She then returned to Calcutta by boat. Even in all that, what's she worried about? Oh, well, the boys have a place to sleep now. Someone to take care of them. She's not like, oh, good, we can really work well from here. This will be great for the new movement, for this, that, and the other. No. Oh, good, my boys have a place to stay, a place to sleep. That's wonderful. It just shows you her heart, and it's good to take these things to heart, because you'll get worried about a lot of things in your life. You'll get worried about a lot of your spiritual troubles and your lack of growth or your inability to see, and you'll get quite worked up about it, but Mother's looking at you and she's just more concerned about you being healthy and happy, that you're that you're provided for and taken care of, and that you are aware of her love, for you, that you are open-eyed in your understanding of grace from the divine. In March of 1898, there was an outbreak of plague in Calcutta. Swami Vivekananda immediately wanted to make plans for relief work, but there was no money. He told his brother disciples, "We shall sell, if necessary, the land that has just been purchased from the monastery. We are sannyasins. We must be ready to sleep under the trees and to live on alms as we did before. Must we care for the monastery and possessions, when by disposing of them we could relieve thousands of helpless people suffering before our own eyes?" Swamiji had such a strong personality that it was not easy to dissuade him. Moreover, his brother disciples were very obedient. However, Swami Shivananda interjected, "Swamiji, you always consult with Holy Mother about important matters. Will you not consult with her before selling the Mat property?" Swamiji immediately replied, "You are right, Tarakda. It was my mistake. I shall go to the Mother right now." Swamiji went to the Holy Mother in Calcutta, accompanied by Brahmananda, Shivananda, and Sharadananda. After bowing down, Swamiji said, "Mother, there is no money to serve the plague-stricken people. I am considering selling the Mat property and using that money for relief work. We are monks. We can live under the trees. We need your permission." Holy Mother had always supported Swamiji's projects, but she did not agree with him on this matter. She said, "My son, no, you cannot sell the Mat property. This is not your Mat. It belongs to the Master. You are my heroic sons. You can spend your lives under the trees, but those of my children who will come in the future will not be able to live under the trees. This Mat is for them." With the purpose of Belur Mat end after conducting only one relief work, the objectives of the Master's mission are many. The infinite ideas of the Master will spread all over the world in the future. His mission will continue through the ages. So see there, again, it's that mother's heart. Sell the Mat. She's like, it's not yours. It's not yours to sell and to make that decision. And what's she thinking about? Not just only the boys there. She's like, yes, you guys are the direct disciples. You are your heroes. You're amazing. You're my heroic sons. But, there's going to be a future monk, probably a Swami C someday, who's spoiled and persnickety and needs a bed to lay on. So she was thinking of us even then, and her, again, so she's not worried about the organization of the institution. She's not worried about the money. She's not worried about all of that. What's she worried about? Her children, that they get that they're taken care of, that there's a place where they can know that they have to take refuge, and to grow and to develop. So she wanted that for all of us. So you just see, she never forgets her vision of us as her children and her responsibility that she's taken to raise us up and to give us what we need to be raised up. And so this is why we pray, and this is why we sit in silence before her. Swamiji immediately realized the truth of Holy Mother's statement. He told his brother disciples, "It is true. I have no right to sell the monastery land. What was my emotion leading me to do? It did not occur to me." Swamiji joyfully accepted the Holy Mother's decision. Holy Mother's words were final regarding any decisions of the Mott. Once, when a servant stole something from Bellarmont, Swamiji asked him to leave. The poor man went to Holy Mother in Calcutta and confessed his guilt. He asked her to get his job back for him. She forgave him and sent him back to Belur with Premananda, saying, "This man is poor. He stole out of dire poverty. Naren threw him out. My son, there is so much suffering in this world. You are monks, so you don't understand worldly life. Please take him back." Premananda accompanied the man to Belur and reported everything to Swamiji, who was happy to accept the mother's decision. Boy, you can't find yourself in that story. Right? This mother's really presenting this to us tonight, really showing us the heart of the mother. And there's so much comfort to be gathered from that. So much to be gathered from that. So this guy steals, gets fired by Swamiji, and then what's he do? He goes to the mother and confesses his guilt. He doesn't hide it. He says, "Yeah, I did that, but I really need this job." And mother tells Premananda, go back, give him his job back, give him his place back. And that reminds me of that same experience. I've had those times where I've gotten in trouble, where I've done something wrong, and I was very troubled by it. And my scolding was not about what I had done. My scolding was about my having troubles and holding on to it, feeling guilty, feeling shame for it. And, I've told you all that when Swami Prabodhananda, he yelled at me for the only time in 25 years that he ever yelled at me was right there in that first year. And when I was sitting there confessing, my fault to him and just crying because I was just devastated, I thought it was the end of my route. And he yells at me not for the deed. He yells at me for my forgetting that I'm a child of the mother. He said, "You are a child of the mother. What is all of this crying going on?" He says, your honesty has saved you. Go to the shrine." What a wonderful message that is. What a wonderful freedom that is. Don't be troubled. Don't own your mistakes. Confess them. Recognize them. But then leave them lying to die. Don't feed them with remorse and with guilt and with shame and all of that stuff. That's all story. You only feel that way because you're trying to pay for your wrongdoing by your remorse, by your feeling sorry about it. That's why we hold on to shame and guilt. It gives us a sense of penance, a sense of paying for our wrongs. But if we do that, if we hold on to that idea that we could pay for our wrongs, if we hold on to the idea that we could change of our own accord, then we're not ready for grace, right? Because an infinite grace requires an infinite humility. It's a real surrender. You lay down all of your story, even the stories about how great you could be and what you could do. You lay down all of your stories and you just sit there in silence, listening to what's being done for you, listening for your freedom, listening for this wonderful, infinite grace that has given you the right to sit before the divine, to hear these stories. Oh, I'm just going to read to the end of this section here, and then we'll call it an evening. In October 1898, Swami Vivekananda returned from pilgrimage in Kashmir and visited Holy Mother at Bospara Lane, Calcutta. When Swamiji bowed down, the mother blessed him, touching his head with her right hand. He said to her in a rather piqued voice, "Mother, how slight is your master's power. A Muslim fakir cursed me because of one of his disciples came to me. He said that on account of stomach trouble, I would have to leave the place in 3 days. And so it happened. Your master could not protect me." Holy Mother answered through Krishnalal, "This is the result of psychic powers that the fakir has acquired. You must accept the manifestation of such powers. The master believed in them. He accepted all traditions." Swamiji, still upset, replied, "Whatever you may say, Mother, I don't agree with you. The master is powerless." Holy Mother teased him. "My son, how can you deny the master's power? Even the tuft of hair is held in his, even the tuft of your hair is held in his hand." When Holy Mother reminded Swamiji of the master's love for him, he bowed down with tearful eyes and left after having prasad. We've seen tonight in Swamiji's just this. There's not even hesitation for him to admit that he was wrong in these different situations. There was no question. When Holy Mother gave him different advice from what he had said, immediately he gladly lets go of his own perspective. And the key there is gladly. And here, even now, him feeling a little upset that the master didn't protect him from this fakir's power. And Mother is saying, look, the master respects all traditions. He'll respect this man's power also. He said, and then she reminded of him of love, the master's love for him, and teased him. So you get ready for that. There's going to be some teasing. All right, we'll stop there.